Oshinoko chapter 135 is here, and we have a chapter that is definitely building up to a clash between Ruby and Kana. We also get our boy Aqua back this week, which is great because we have missed him over the last few chapters. Chapter 134 picked up in the aftermath of Kana bearing her hatred towards Ruby, and we saw how this affected Ruby and how she was still so desperately trying to figure out what I was really like, and she did find out in a very intense way. Now, what will happen between Ruby and Kana now Aqua is back on the scene? Well, let's get into chapter 135 and look at that. Chapter 135 starts with Aqua asking the director if he thought I was sad when her teammates abandoned her. And I gotta say, I love director Gotanda as he is just this like say it how it is kind of guy, and we get this from him a lot in this chapter with Aqua. He replies to Aqua by asking him if this is about the scene they are shooting tomorrow where Nino speaks harshly to Ai. Aqua says, well, partly, but Ruby also came to me and asked if he thought I cried when she was having a hard time. Gotanda asks Aqua, well, what do you think? Aqua replies saying, isn't it obvious? I didn't cry. He goes on to say how I was always so carefree and she avoided important conversations. He said that he never saw her cry, not even once. And this is true, even in her final, most emotional moments, I sure teared up, but she didn't cry in front of Aqua and Ruby. Now, Aqua asks Gotanda what his interpretations of Ai's character was, and he's like, well, I don't know. I'm not a mentalist nor a counselor, so how am I supposed to know? He goes on to say that he just wrote this script with events that actually happened. He says he put it together in a way that no matter how the actor performs it, it still won't fail. Besides, they can just reshoot if he isn't feeling their performance. Aqua says, so you want me to think about it myself? And Gotanda says, well, the point is that no one really knows. She's dead. It's too late to understand her feelings now. And I agree and disagree with this. I don't think that just because Ai is dead that you can't understand her feelings and character, but at the same time, it's Ai Hoshino that we're dealing with here. She is shrouded in mystery as to who she really was, and like, it's not impossible to work out who she really was, but what we do have to go off of, we still can't figure out if it was the real her or not. And that we'll go into next. Gotanda tells Aqua of a time when he filmed a documentary for the original Bikamachi, and I said to Gotanda, please film the real me. Looking back on this, he says it was a challenge. He says that he warned her if that for 1 second he feels like she was keeping up appearances, he will stop shooting immediately. He does admit that she did try to bare her true soul to him, but he felt that he just couldn't capture the real her. And because of that documentary, Gotanda reveals that the movie they're now making is revenge for him too. This time, he wants to film the real Ai. Aqua says, well, I hope you can do it. And Gotanda says that he will because I'm going into this movie that I will accomplish this. This is why I chose Ruby for the role of Ai. Gotanda continues saying, if Ruby's acting is weak, then the movie will bomb. But if her performance is good, the movie will soar. Gotanda needs Ruby to perform to her best, even if she has to force it. And I gotta say, no pressure, Ruby. Not like the girl's under enough pressure already, right? Aqua then steps in and warns Gotanda that if Ruby is pushed too far, if you push her more than this, you know what will happen, right? And I gotta say, it's a great gloomy panel of Aqua, and this is one aspect we've missed seeing from him, but what really makes this panel is Gotanda's face as he says, your obsession with your sister scares me. I love that. Like, it works for the story and for the people who ship Aqua and Ruby. Yeah, it's all good fun. Right? Gotanda then moves on from this and says, well, it doesn't matter. She'll be fine because she has Arima by her side. And yeah, big oops there, Gotanda, but don't worry, he will find out ever so shortly what's going on there. For now, we move on to focus on Kana's character for a bit, and it really is a reminder of just how amazing she is in this series. I feel every now and then we get some Kana appreciation in the manga, and it reminds me just how much I love Kana as a character. So we look back on Kana's past as Gotanda explains that Kana used to be a selfish girl who acted in her own way. She lived in a world where acting is everything, and she looked at all the actors around her as enemies. And again, I've got to say that the panel of Kana staring intensely was just so good. Like, I had to double take that panel to really appreciate how awesome that it is. Back to the chapter, Gotanda explains that Kana was all alone in this world. She didn't have friends or colleagues around her age, and reveals that he paired Aqua with her way back when, not just to knock her down a peg when she got too full of herself, but so that Aqua could be the friend that she so desperately needed. It's such a cute sentiment really, and Gotanda really is him. He's smart and he knows what's going on beneath the surface. Sure, he comes across as perhaps mean and to the point at times, but he really does care about those that he works with, and this was a perfect example of that. Gotanda explains that he knew how hard it was for Kana and how lonely she must have been. And for him, when he saw just how well she was getting on with the newbie Komachi girls, to finally be in an environment with girls her age and having these normal relationships with them, he just felt relieved. Gotanda was so happy for Kana and glad that she finally made true friends. He says, "No matter what happens, Kana Arima will definitely protect Ruby Hoshino. She had always wanted a friend like that after all." And now we cut to the next day on set, and this couldn't have been a bigger smack in the face for Gotanda. Like, the mood between Ruby and Kana was dark and tense. We get a panel of the two ignoring each other, with poor Memcho in the background trying her damn best to fix the situation. And I just feel so bad for her, man, being in the middle of this. Poor Memcho. Aqua calls it, of course, as he sees it and says to Gotanda, "Are you sure they'll be fine? Things are looking a little grim to me." Gotanda is panicked here and he's like, nah, it'll be fine. This is what adolescence is, right? Things like this always happen between girls their age. He says, like they say, fights like this deepen your friendships. And Aqua says, nah, no. That only happens in fiction. Poor Gotanda, man. Aqua, of course, brings the gloom as he says, when this happens IRL, you just distance yourselves and eventually you drift apart. Gotanda is not having this. He calls Aqua over and says, help them smooth things over. Aqua is like, wait, why me? And we get this hilarious panel where Gotanda is desperately trying to get Aqua to help him with this situation. He's like, well, Ruby's your sister and you're close with Arima. You're the guy. Besides, aren't you worried? Aqua just sits back and says, don't worry, stay calm. You're the person in charge here. He says, Ruby won't break easy. She'll turn things around to her benefit even if she falls. And the same goes for Arima. She can see the bigger picture. Just trust them. They're already quite splendid if you ask me. And the final panel of the chapter shows Ruby and Kana in costume as Ai and Nino, ready to shoot that big scene. And man, does it look extremely tense. I am both nervous and excited for this next chapter, and I think it's really going to blow up. Whether there will be a conclusion to this, I don't know, but something major is definitely going to happen. I also don't know what Aqua means by what he said at the end. Like, the guy does love a bit of chaos, 100%, but at the same time, I think he sees something that the others don't see, so I think I trust him in just leaving the two to it. The scene they are about to perform will definitely have some sort of impact on what happens next between them, so I guess we'll just have to wait and find out to see what happens. Now, what did you think of this chapter? Do you think Ruby and Kana are going to have a major clash in the next chapter, or will it all be fine? And while you wait for the next video to drop, why not check out this video where I talk about how true the world of Oshinoko is from the perspective of a full-time YouTuber. But guys, that's it from me. I'll see you soon with some more. Till then, you take care. Peace.